Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I want to talk more about The Expanse and why it's such a good piece of science fiction. I want to focus on the realistic aspects of the societies in the show. So let's get to it. Major thing that drew me to The Expanse was its level of realism, and I mean more about sort of all the aspects of human society that they cover. Starting off with technology is the first sort of thing you think about with science fiction. They don't have any magical food replicators or transporters or hyperdrives or anything like that. Space travel is painful. You kind of need drugs to help you get through it sometimes when going very fast. There is advancement in technology, but it sort of follows along the line of a natural progression from where we are now. This gives it the sense of authenticity. The magic kind of aspect of it, as seen in other shows, is not here. And it kind of makes it a little bit more believable. And then the rest of the other stuff is things like the politics of the show. So we see various societies formed within our solar system. And then on top of that, within those societies, there's all kinds of politics going on. In any organized or any large grouping of humans, there's always tends to be politics, and there always will be some kind of machination going on, intrigues, political games, power plays, and so on. And all of this is reflected in all the powers that we see in The Expanse. And again, this just adds to the sense of realism and the relatability of it as a show. The other thing is things like human nature, the pettiness, the backstabbing, the greed. All these things are present in this show. We get an unvarnished picture of humans throughout history. If you generally read through history or all of the various civilizations that we've had here on Earth, something that unifies all of them is the fact that because it's still humans who have always been present at all times, the nature of the humans hasn't changed much at all. The show Star Trek really sanitized humans. They created this narrative where once they developed the ability to travel to other planets and so on and made contact with alien civilizations, realizing the grandness of the universe in which they lived, all the small issues and problems all the problems and issues that were of importance until then were seen in their proper context. And because of this, people just sort of naturally kind of came together, fixed their problems on Earth, and then went out to explore the world, explore the universe. This is almost the opposite of what we have in The Expanse. It's and I think The Expanse's depiction of humans with all their flaws, as well as the good things, but a large amount of their flaws, really is again, authentic sort of depiction of what probably would happen in the future, in the next few hundred years of maybe that's just me being a little bit on the cynical side, but I think it's a more believable sort of position that we're in. I think it's also back in the 60s and then the 80s and 90s and so on, generally people had a more optimistic view of the world, and the present world at the time seemed more optimistic and with more opportunities. We have all kinds of issues now, so that's kind of probably why our feelings about it change, and why that happy sort of Star Trek Enterprise kind of world is not really believable as much today for most people. Something else that adds authenticity to this show is that humans are shown as vulnerable still. They still need resources, especially water and air, which have become really precious commodities. And that kind of plays into the part of the social aspects of it with the belters and so on. And in shows like Star Wars, you never see how they get their food or whatever. And then in Star Trek, like all the Federation people have replicators. Well, I think all the races have kind of replicators and food supplies, and it's all very easy. It's not ever an issue about running out of food. But here, this is a very kind of believable and relatable issue when planets, especially Mars, needs oxygen and needs water, and they rely on the supply chains from outside to get these things in for them. And that's partly what the OPA is trying to leverage, saying, we're the ones doing all the hard work here and getting the stuff. Why are we treated like this? And that kind of leads me on to the next point, which is there's a realistic depiction of the grievances within the human society. And this is really best shown by the Belters themselves. They work in difficult and very dangerous conditions. They adapted to that environment now. They want their respect and recognition for what they're doing, and they want a greater say in their own lives, while at the same time they're just being ridiculed and demonized and exploited basically by the inner planet-dwelling civilizations. So all of this stuff makes for a very interesting show and a lot of interplay, and because it's such a good reflection of all the things that make up human humanity. Of course, we have the quest for knowledge and the drive to have better technologies and improve and to understand the world and explore and everything. But throughout history, there is such a huge part of conflict within societies, greed for power and wealth, people who want to control things, people who want to control societies and will do it however they can, backstabbing, intrigues, everything that happens throughout history. And the other thing that's really interesting about the Expanse, which is another major component of it, is while the story itself encompasses a very grand narrative, especially as you get into the further and further into the story, it does still give you a good insight into the lives of ordinary citizens of whichever faction you're looking at. It's a really well thought through and well depicted future life of all the various classes of people that we have in our society. And this is so different to Star Trek, where we have, like I said, everyone's sort of varnished, polished sort of depiction of society. In Star Trek, and especially in something like Star Wars, everyone has just some kind of connection to the force-wielding sort of hero figures. You don't really get to see much of the day-to-day life, and it's just a different kind of course, the Star Wars is a different kind of story. I think the Expanse really does well in kind of making the story so authentic and so relatable as a kind of a darker sort of possible future for humanity, but probably most realistic future if we were to go along that pathway. And that's why I think it's such a great show to watch. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments what you think about the societies in the Expanse. Do you think we'll have a brighter future than those depicted, or maybe it'll be even worse? Please let me know if you like this video and subscribe if you want more of this kind of content where I discuss and critique the underlying concepts of shows like The Expanse. See you in the next one.